This video is brought to you by Miniature Market. Thousands of board games, discounted prices, miniaturemarket.com.
Hello my friends, it's the Game Boy Geek here. Tonight, we're going to be looking up at the sky. It's going to be dark, it's going to be cloudy, there's going to be the moon showing, and you're going to hear some howls. This time, it's not going to be werewolves we hear. Today, we're going to be hearing Werebeasts. This is the latest game from Bezier Games. This is the social deduction collection game. It plays 3 to 10 players in about 20 minutes, and you're going to be trying to collect sets of different types of werebeasts, and you'll gather those by negotiating and making deals. But don't be too obvious, because if you get caught with the type of werebeast you're getting, well, you'll be eliminated from the game. So I'm going to take a look at this, I'll give you an overview of how the game's played, and then I'll see you on the other side. The object of the game is to not be eliminated, and at the end of the game, have the most points by collecting cards that correspond to your secret goal tiles. Now you'll use a specific amount of these randomized goal tiles each game, and we'll always be adding these to the werechow goal tile that we took out in the beginning. So you're always going to have the number of tiles of players plus 2, with one of those being a werechow. Next, you'll shuffle up the goal tiles and deal them face down, 1 in between each of the players. Now here I have little meeples showing where people would normally sit. These meeples don't come with the game, none of them do, and you don't need them because in real life there'd be a player sitting here. It would be much easier to visualize where these cards go. But for here I'm using the meeples from one of my favorite Bezier games called Mutant Meeples, which is a great puzzly game. Now you remove the 2 extra tiles that aren't in between people that you have left over. Those will go back in the box without looking at them. This means that there are 2 sets of auction cards that nobody has for goals. Each player can now secretly look at the goal tile to their left and their right. Notice that you're going to be sharing them. So the brown player and the black player are sharing this goal card. So they're both going to be trying to go for this. They would keep it secret, but for the video I'm going to show you, they're going for the were shark, both of them. And they know it. Both of them know they're both going for it. This brown player shares the were-nado with the yellow player. So you'll secretly look at your cards on both sides of you. You can look at them at any time throughout the game, but never show it to anybody else. The game's played over multiple turns, and each turn one player will be the active player, and they'll be auctioning off one of the cards from the auction stack, and this will continue until there's either just 2 players left or the auction stack has been totally depleted. On the active player's turn, they're simply going to flip over the top card from the auction deck. Then openly and freely, all the other players are going to be offering you things in order to be the one to be able to win this card. Now they can offer you any amount of cards they may have in front of them, in conjunction with any amount of werechow. They can offer you just cards, just werechow, or any combination of those. You'll keep going back and forth with people in real time until you come up with the best deal. You can ask them to counter offer, you can tell them what you really want, but in the end you'll make a deal with somebody. When that deal is made, you must follow through with your deal. So let's say you finally made the deal with the red player. They offered you their double NATO and 2 werechow. That was the best deal you could get. So you would take that from them, the 2 werechow and the double NATO, and that player would get the were-nana. This deck would then simply pass to the next player, where this player would take a turn just as we showed. Now if when a player is doing their action, they're selling a card, if they get no bids in the first 10 seconds, they can take this card for free. However, if there's at least 1 bid, they must accept a bid. Now at the beginning of your turn, instead of directly selling a card, as shown to you previously, you can decide to accuse a player. Now you can accuse any player. However, if you're accusing the player that's sitting directly next to you, you cannot accuse them for the same goal that you share with them. So let's say they accuse the brown player here, and they say, I accuse you, I think you're collecting were-nados. If either of these 2 gold cards on the other side of them are were-nados, they must say, yes, you're right, they cannot lie, and they must flip over the gold tile next to them that shows what they have accused. Now if that active player correctly accused this player, they get to take either all of the auction cards that are in front of them, or all of the werechow that's in front of them. They decide whichever they don't take stays in front of the eliminated player, because this player is now out of the game. However, if when this player was accused, they were not collecting the were-nado, they would simply not flip these and say, no, you're incorrect. And if that active player incorrectly accused, then that player is eliminated from the game. And the player that they wrongly accused gets to take either all of that player's werechow or all of that player's auction cards, just as I showed you before, and whatever is not taken stays in front of that eliminated player. Then this would move to the next active player. Now, if you accuse at the beginning of your turn and you're correct, you can continue to accuse as many times as you want. And then after you accuse, if you're still in the game, you can then sell a card like normal. Players continue going clockwise, taking turns like this until one of two things happens. Either the auction deck has been completely depleted and there's no more cards to sell, or there's only 2 players left not eliminated in the game. At that point, all of the gold cards will get flipped up and each player will tally their points. For example, this player has 1, 2, 3, 4, because this is a double NATO. They have 4 points. They had no weresharks. Where this green player was connecting werekittens and werebeasts, and they got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, because both of those are double, so they'd have 6 points. However, if a player had the werechow gold, they will get 1 point for each 4 werechow. So in this case, there's a stack of 4 here, a stack of 4 here, a stack of 4 here, so that's 3 total points, plus the wernanas, 1, 2, because it's double, 3, so that's going to be a total of 7 points for blue. If it's a tie at the end of the game, whoever has the most werechow wins. If it's still a tie, whoever has the most auction cards win, with any doubles counting as 2. If it's still tied, well, the tied players both lose because everyone is tired for waiting and everyone else wins. All right, well, there is Werebeasts. Let's start with the things that I really liked about this game. I had a chance to play this at PAX with a lot of different groups at their demo table, had a blast with it, and then I finally got to play it with my own group. So I love the art and the unique types of beasts. I remember when I first saw the Kickstarter page for this, I'm like, what is this going on here? And you look at these things, you're like, Werebago, Werenado, my favorite, the Wernana, and I just thought that was it's silly, but I just thought it was an interesting twist and unique, and I love the artwork, and I love the silliness of all these different Werebeasts that are out there. The game is super easy to teach. You can pretty much teach this to anybody. I mean, you're simply flipping a card, trying to negotiate to win that card. You're trying to collect sets. Don't be too obvious. You can accuse other people. Done. I just taught you the game. So it's very easy to teach, low barrier of entry, and I like that about it. You can get right to the fun very quickly. I love the aspect of trying to figure out people's beasts. And the fact that you share beasts with your neighbors is very interesting, because when cards come up that you share with your neighbor, it's not like you're both just gonna go guns blazing at it. Because when you're watching other people around the table, if let's just say the Werenado comes out, and everyone else is like maybe one, maybe they put a card out, and then these 2 people that are next to each other are like fighting over it like crazy, you're like, oh my gosh, they might be going for that. That's probably their shared goal. Or it could be 2 people that are really in cahoots that's not even theirs, and they could be just playing like it's theirs to try to get you to accuse them. So I like that. There's a lot of interesting aspects of trying to read people. What are they doing? Why are they doing it? You're trying to remember what they've done in the past. What do they give up? What are they afraid to give up during the things? You know, someone offers you this, and you can say, you know what? I don't want that. I want that card instead, because I think you're collecting those. And if they're like a little timid to give it up, that will give you some tells, or maybe they'll pretend. And so it's just really fun. You can do, the space in the game is so simple, but a lot of it's played above the table, and you can play these sort of head games, mind tricks, double fakes. And I love that because it's so fun to figure out what people's beasts are by their behaviors. This brings me to the next point of the negotiation aspect. I just mentioned a little bit of that, and I love that aspect. I love negotiation in games, and it's not open. I mean, you're just trading essentially cards and or werechow. That's it. It's quick. It doesn't take too long. People are trying to outdo each other. People are changing bids. The person who flipped it up is like, no, don't give me that. Give me that. And it's just really interesting. It's quick. Some negotiation aspects of games go on way too long. You need a timer, but this is very quick and easy. And there's just lots of little short bursts of negotiation, and I love that aspect in this game. I already talked about the neighbor aspect, and it's so unique because when you're sitting there and you're thinking about what this player's going to do, it's almost as if you're playing the resistance, and you know that 2 bad guys, you and another player, have gone on the mission. And so when a card comes up, you're thinking about it. Now, you don't have to do it blindly, so you can kind of play off each other, but you want to be very careful. I think that's a really interesting twist here, because other people are going to be looking for that. And, you know, at some point, you almost want your neighbor to collect a bunch of them, because maybe they get accused. Like if they get a few, like 1 or 2 of them, you kind of want them to keep going. So if they get accused and they get eliminated, then you can go for the other one that your other neighbor you're sharing with. So it's such a light game, but there's still a lot of tactics into it that I really enjoy. I like how some beasts are not actually in the game. So in the 5+ player game, you know, there's a certain amount of beasts that are shuffled, certain amount of cards that are put in, but 2 of those are not going to be in the game, and I like that because you never have perfect knowledge of those. You don't know when people are going heavy. It could be one of the ones that nobody has, or if one that comes out that nobody's there, you could go heavy for it, try to pretend like all the ones that are nobody's are yours. You could use those to try to entice other people to take them for the card that you're offering, and I like that aspect of it. This game tends to have one of those things. It's so quick that you'll want to play it multiple times, especially with the same people. And I love how like one game leads to another game leads to another game. You're like, oh, he or she did that this game. Let's watch out because last time they did this and it really screwed us over and they fooled us. But then what's going to happen is you're going to say, well, they did that last time, so they're probably not going to do it this time. And you have this total like double head fake going on, which I really enjoy because it's like, especially when you play multiple games in a row, you'll just see interesting things going. You're really trying to say, are they doing that again? Or do they think that I think they're going to do that again? And so they'll do this. So a lot of those types of things you'll be thinking about. Overall, I think this is an absolutely great first or last game of the night. You'll almost always want to play it more than once because it's quick, it's easy, and it's fun. Now let's see, anything I didn't like about it. The game is very bluff heavy. So if you're the type of person that doesn't like to deceive or doesn't like to bluff, now in this game you're not directly deceiving people. So if you're the type of player that doesn't like social deduction games because you don't like looking at your friend's eyes and just lying to them, I think you'll still like this because you're not doing that. You're just simply trying to do things over here, don't pay attention to me over here. So even if you don't like bluffing in general, you might still want to try this out, but still it is a bluffing game at its core. So if you just hate every bluffing game you've ever played, this might not be the game for you. But if you don't like social deduction games that lie, still check this one out because it is quite different. The player elimination might be troublesome for some. I know when I first heard the rules at PAX and heard that you could get eliminated, I was like, player elimination? That almost never goes well. But I'll tell you what, it's actually fine. It's cool because, number one, when you get eliminated, the game's so short it's not going to matter much anyway. And when you do get eliminated, much like some of the other social deduction games from Bezier Games like Werewolf and things like that, those games are almost as fun to watch than they are to play. Sometimes my wife actually enjoys more watching them than playing them. This is one of those that once you get eliminated, because you know of the people next to you, you can watch what they're collecting, then you're watching the other people collecting. And the game's short enough anyways. I thought the player elimination was going to bother me, but it didn't end up bothering me. But just be known that player elimination's there, and some people might not like that. But that's it. Overall, I loved this game. It's one of the most fun little bluffing filler games that I've played in a long time. And for that, it's going to be getting a saxophone serenade and a place in my gaming library. So let's hit it.
This video was sponsored by Miniature Market's Review Corner. The Review Corner features podcasts, video, and written game reviews by gamers for gamers. Miniature Market, the online gaming superstore. Thousands of board games, discounted prices. Check them out at miniaturemarket.com.